Hello and welcome. I'm Tisha. Here on Reddit Stories with Tisha, we listen, think, and chat in the comments. If you'd like more, consider liking and subscribing. Let's begin with today's first story. 13 years in, and the loudest sound in this house is the flush that didn't happen. A tiny habit, a weekly pattern. But patterns don't stay tiny when they start to feel like disrespect. What you leave behind says something about what you think someone else should carry. We're not arguing with porcelain. We're arguing with avoidance. Facts. They're both 39. Long road, real bumps. Enough to put couples counseling on the calendar like a weekly tune-up. She starts small, careful even. This keeps happening. Please flush. He apologizes, says he'll do better. The kind of fix that should take 5 seconds and zero drama. Then the next week arrives with proof that intentions and actions are not married yet. She opens the lid. Not the headline mess, just tissue that isn't clean. Not a health emergency, not a scandal. Just a message. I handled the problem later and left the aftermath now. She says he forgot to flush. He shrugs it down to just tissue. She clarifies, because her concerns have been getting minimized, this wasn't clean. That detail matters. To him, it lands like a spotlight. To her, it's the whole difference between a harmless oops and a pattern that keeps asking her to be the janitor. He snaps. Do I have to spell it out? The room tilts. Now we're not just talking about the bowl. We're talking about tone, safety, and the feeling that one person's comfort keeps borrowing the other person's dignity. He explains that sometimes the first cleanup doesn't cut it. And later, right before a shower, he wipes again. He forgot to flush. Explainable, sure, but delivery is everything. He went sharp. She heard the edge, not the logic. And once a voice goes up, the topic changes costumes. What started as hygiene turns into, can I bring you a small truth without getting burned? She pushes back. Adults handle their business in the moment. If your body needs the extra minute today, take it. Basic. He hears shame. He accuses her of trying to embarrass him. She says that's not the aim, but yes, this is minimum standard stuff. He locks onto the word embarrassed, like it's the whole scene. Suddenly, the bowl is just a prop. The real story is respect. Silence checks in like a moody roommate. A few days of it. He says he's sorry, but he also demands her apology with pressure. Then he throws a new dart. She needs individual therapy. That turns the tool they're both trying to use into a weapon. She won't apologize on command. Not when the original ask was reasonable and the escalation wasn't hers. She still admits they both could have been kinder. That's growth, not surrender. But the habit? Still sitting there, waiting to turn into resentment. Tools are in arm's reach. The problem is in the ego. Say it again. Here's the quiet math. The bathroom already has wet wipes on deck. There's a covered bin for them. The fix is not theoretical. It's inches away. This was never about a lack of knowledge. It's about identity. He doesn't want to be the guy who can't handle it. So even a gentle nudge lands like an attack on competence. When people feel incompetent, they reach for control, volume, blame, or both. Add the mental load piece. Every time she walks in and sees the aftermath, she's managing a mess she didn't create. That's not just unpleasant. It's a tax on attention. A tiny withdrawal from the respect account she keeps trying to balance. 1 or 2 a week? Those add up. And not just in the bowl. Let's set the thermostat. Tone. She started neutral. He apologized. Then the pattern repeated, and her clarity tightened. She wanted to make sure it wasn't minimized. He heard a spotlight. He went loud. When a voice spikes, the priority becomes emotional safety, not the original ask. If small requests trigger big voices, the house stops feeling safe enough for big conversations. Was her "I'd be embarrassed" helpful? Depends on the heat underneath it. True but hot is a bad tool if the goal is change. Truth points don't fix habits, repetition does. Tone is the grease that helps new behavior slide into place. And the therapy jab? Offside. Counseling only works as shared gear, not a gotcha. If he wants her to watch the sting in her delivery, fair ask. But not by turning help into a hammer. Call it what it is. I felt called out. Please keep it clinical, not shaming. Specific, adult, useful. Take a breath and zoom out. Bathrooms are where small standards tell on big values. Shared space means shared minimums. I leave it how I found it is not micromanagement. It's respect you can see with your eyes and smell with, well, hopefully nothing. Picture the morning rush, coffee on, laptop booting. She's already juggling a mental grocery list, a work problem, maybe a text from a relative who needs a favor. She opens the lid and has to process a vivid reminder that someone else's comfort outranked her sense of ease. Not catastrophic, just cumulative. Cumulative is how relationships fray. Now picture the flip side. He's slammed at work, comes home on autopilot, hates the feeling that his body is a chore he didn't schedule. Shame taps his shoulder. He wants the world to go smooth in at least one room. He hears, "not clean enough," and it lands as, "not man enough." In that moment, a nudge can feel like a verdict. The defense mechanism is older than this marriage. Deny, minimize, deflect. None of that fixes a bowl, but it does protect a fragile moment, briefly. Accountability isn't shame. It's soap and water. End of sermon. Let's talk repair like we mean it. The goal is not to win the argument. The goal is to make the problem boring. You want the fix so routine it stops being a topic. First move, a single sentence standard. Shared bathroom, shared standard. That's it. No labels, no diagnosis. If something unclean is left behind, the person who left it remediates it immediately. Not later, not after debate. Immediately. Ownership kills shame faster than speeches. Second move. Use the gear already there. If today needs wipes, use wipes, then flush. Quick visual check like you would before handing back a rental car. 30 seconds now saves 30 minutes of hurt feelings later. That's not micromanagement. That's care delivered in tiny daily units. Third move. Consequences that aren't punishments. No one needs a star chart. No one needs a scoreboard. Just the rule that the mess maker becomes the mess fixer every time. When the habit is consistent, the conversation thins out on its own. Nothing makes criticism evaporate like visible change. Fourth move. Bring the exact episode to counseling, not the insults, the sequence. When a small mess is minimized, I feel dismissed and disrespected. When I feel singled out, I get defensive and raise my voice. Those sentences are doors. A therapist can help you both walk through them without grabbing for shields. Fifth move. No cold wars. Distance without drama. This happened. Please handle it. Full stop. Then let the action be the apology. You don't need a 3-day silent movie to prove a point. The flush is louder than the speech. Now, accountability for both. Her side. Trim the sting. Keep it clinical. Describe the behavior, not the person. Say what you saw, what you need, and stop. No adjectives, no embarrassing. Try, there's soiled tissue in the bowl. Please flush and check going forward. It's less satisfying than the zinger, but way more effective. His side. Retire the defense. Replace it with clarity. Sometimes I need a second clean before showers. I'll use wipes, check, and flush. If I forget, I'll fix it right away. That's grown-up talk. And grown-up talk earns trust faster than winning. Use the tools, not the volume. We're not building a nightclub. Let's be real about dignity. Bathroom talk is awkward. Nobody wants their backside on the agenda. But if you can't talk about small, awkward things, big ones become impossible. Dignity is not silence. Dignity is the right to ask for basic care and be heard without punishment. What about the embarrassed line? If it already came out, own it and adjust. I said that with heat. The point was hygiene, not humiliation. I'll keep it clinical. That's a repair you can feel, and it invites reciprocity. He can match with, I raised my voice. That wasn't safe. I'll keep it calm. When both sides own their slice, the pie stops being thrown across the room. And the practical logistics? Keep the wipes stocked. Keep the bin lined. Make it frictionless to do the right thing. People don't default to good habits out of pride. They default to the path of least resistance, so build the path. Smooth is humane. How about a script for the next time it happens? Because life is not perfect, and neither are bowels. I found soiled tissue in the bowl. Please flush and do a quick check. I got it. Thanks for the heads up. No backstory, no sarcasm, no TED Talk. That exchange is 20 seconds long and saves you 2 days of weird energy. Let's handle the fairness question head on. Is she the jerk for telling him to wipe better? Number. A baseline for shared hygiene is not cruelty. It's a normal boundary in a home where 2 adults share sight lines. Her delivery matters, yes. Tone is a tool, and tools can wound or build. But the request itself is reasonable. Is he the jerk for the forget, minimize, shout combo? He's responsible for both the behavior and the escalation. He rebranded accountability as shaming, then brought therapy in as a threat. That's not leadership. That's dodge and throw. It turns a 5-second fix into a fight with interest. So the verdict is boring in the best way. Change the habit, soften the tone, and make the apology specific. I left a mess. I'm sorry. I'll use the wipes and flush. Then do it. Every time. If he wants something from her too, he can ask for the exact behavior. Please keep it clinical. No shaming words. Fair boundary. Easy to honor. Small habits tell on big values. Your bathroom is your billboard. There's a reason couples fall out over tiny things. Big betrayals are rare. Tiny neglects are daily. They don't break the house in half. They just loosen screws until the door won't close right. Then one day you're blaming the hinge when it was the habit the whole time. Respect shows up in invisible ways. You refill the ice tray. You wipe the counter. You put the scissors back where you found them. You flush. No applause, no post. Just peace. And peace is the point, isn't it? Not perfection, not winning. Peace. Picture the better week. He handles his business the first time. She walks into a bathroom that looks unremarkable. No comment needed. The counseling session gets to talk about dreams again, instead of detours. The house gets lighter by 1 invisible pound you used to carry without knowing it. If you're listening for the deeper theme, it's this. Care is not a speech. Care is a series of unglamorous choices that make someone else's day easier. That's love at home scale. Not a trip, not a diamond, a flush, a check, a soft voice when you're tempted to go hard. And if a slip happens, it will. That's being human. Fix it fast and quiet. Your speed is your sincerity. Action out-argues posture every single time. The story started with a bowl. It ends with a standard. Shared bathroom, shared standard. The rest is practice. Practice is love. Say the quiet part. The flush isn't optional. A marriage doesn't fail over tissue. It frays when one person's comfort keeps outranking the other person's dignity. Fixable, though. 2 daily moves. Consistent hygiene. Kinder words. Small, repeatable, boring in the best way. Because the bathroom tells the truth. And the truth you want your house to tell is simple. We take care of each other, even when no one's watching. Okay, on to the next story. 15 years old. Hot day. Fresh from practice. You just want a shower and silence. Instead, a line gets crossed, clear as a slammed door. Not a whoops, not a joke. A boundary breach. We're not debating boys being boys. We're naming what happened, period. Your home is already complicated. Divorce at 10. Mom's new husband becomes the stepdad you never asked for. You've got 2 step-siblings, 1 half-brother, and a stacked pile of mixed feelings. Some resentments you can live with. This, different category. After that shower, he makes contact that is not okay. Not brush by, not clumsy, deliberate. Your body does what bodies do when they feel cornered, protects itself. 1 punch, his nose breaks, ER. You didn't plan it. You didn't want it. It happened fast, like a switch. Mom hears the story and scolds you, says to lighten up because you're both men. Number. That's not a rule, that's a cover story. Your siblings call it out. They're on your side. They refuse to visit him in the hospital. The room has spoken. The truth is loud. Let's slow the frame. You're a minor. He's a parental figure. Unwanted touching is not a prank. It's a violation. In a lot of places, it's also a crime. And the power difference makes it worse. We're both men is a magic trick people use to make boundaries disappear. You're allowed to have a body that's yours. You're allowed to be safe in your own home. Call things by their names. Respect is not optional. You're worried about the punch. Fair. Violence isn't a strategy. It's a reflex when your nervous system thinks there's danger, especially when you train. MMA doesn't make you a hothead. It makes your startle response quicker. You didn't script this. You reacted. That doesn't make you a villain. It makes you a kid whose body chose defense. Still, the goal is safety, not escalation. That means shifting the focus from, was the punch too much, to, how do you protect yourself now? Because the threat wasn't the punch. The threat was the boundary that got crossed before it. Zoom out on the family picture. Your mom's minimizing. That stings extra because parents are supposed to set the line and stand in front of it. When she says, lighten up, she's choosing comfort over truth. That's not love. That's avoidance in a cardigan. People minimize when they don't want to face fallout. But you didn't create the fallout. He did. Now the path that keeps you safe, calm, clean, and add safe. You secure distance. You let a trusted adult outside the home know what happened. Coach, counselor, relative. You document. Dates. What happened. Who heard. Who saw. You take care of your body and your brain. If you choose to file a report, that's a boundary with paperwork. No tutorials here, just the principle. Systems exist to protect minors, and you're allowed to use them. You also plan for nights. You mentioned a friend's place. Good. Safety beats normalcy when normalcy turns unsafe. No dramatics, just logistics. Pack what you need. Keep your phone charged. Stay where adults take your safety seriously. What about the house rules if you must be there? No closed door time with him. No one-on-one rides. No accidental shoulder squeezes. If he approaches, you take 3 steps back and you say it plain. Do not touch me. Not loud, not theatrical. Firm. When someone breaks a boundary, clarity is not rude. It's a seatbelt. Safety beats loyalty every single time. Now the guilt loop. You keep replaying the punch. This is how it loosens its grip. You separate intention from outcome. Intention, protect yourself. Outcome, broken nose. You don't hero wash it. You don't villain wash it. You say, I reacted. I didn't want to injure him. I want to be safe. Then you choose actions that keep you safer without putting you in more danger, physical or legal. Let's talk about your siblings for 1 second, because their instincts are on point. They refuse to visit. That isn't cruelty, that's clarity. It tells the room, we side with safety. In a house that keeps trying to water down the truth, that's a lighthouse move. And your mom? She's not ready to face what this means. Because if she names it, the whole house has to change. That might threaten her routines, her relationship, her story about who's safe in the home. You can't make her ready. You can only refuse to carry the cost of her denial. What does repair look like in real life? It looks like you. Out of the blast zone, sleep, food, school on time if you can. Normal things are medicine. It looks like one trusted adult looped in. Teacher, counselor, aunt, coach, someone who won't tell you to lighten up. Someone who writes things down. It looks like space between you and him. Formal or informal, but real. It looks like your mom learning the difference between keeping the peace and protecting a child. That's her homework, not yours. And what about the stepdad? He crossed the line that adults do not cross. If there are consequences, they're earned. Your job is not to manage his feelings. Your job is to protect your perimeter. You said this wasn't the first time he's been inappropriate. That's important context. Patterns matter. A one-off lapse is addressed with a conversation. A pattern is addressed with distance, documentation, and adults who know how to intervene. You're already moving that way. Good. Let's clear the fog from the both men excuse. Manhood isn't a hall pass to touch whoever you want. Manhood is the discipline to keep your hands to yourself. Real men and real father figures model safety. They don't test it. Back to the punch. Will some people say you shouldn't have? Of course. Will some say he deserved it? Also, of course. The answer that keeps you safest is simpler. You reacted to an immediate boundary violation. Going forward, your plan is nonviolent, documented, adult-supported safety. Full stop. And your voice? Keep it steady. You don't have to convince anyone who doesn't want to be convinced. You're not a prosecutor. You're a kid who deserves a home that isn't dangerous. If somebody wants to argue that down, that's on them. If you stay with a friend for a few days, set tiny goals. Sleep through the night. Eat something real. Text your siblings. Breathe when your chest tightens. Normalcy is a ladder. Climb it one rung at a time. In the background, there's grief, not just for this incident, for the idea that home was supposed to be uncomplicated. When adults fail you, it dents your inner map. You fix that dent by surrounding yourself with people who treat your no like a law, not a suggestion. That reteaches your nervous system what safe feels like. That takes time. Time you have. You did not cause this. You did not invite it. You are not overreacting. Your body said no faster than your brain could write a speech. That is not a moral failure. That is biology doing its job. Practical voice lines you can use, clean and calm. I'm not discussing this. I'm staying somewhere safe. Do not touch me. I've told an adult I trust what happened. I will not be alone with him. Short, no essays. Safety statements are meant to be boring. If anyone tries to fold this into family drama, step out of the frame. Drama is a smoke machine. Safety is a locked door. You choose the door. Every time. Verdict time, since that's the shape this story came in. Are you the jerk for a defensive punch after a deliberate boundary violation? Number. You're a minor who reacted to stop contact that never should have happened. The adult who initiated that contact is responsible for the harm, the hospital trip, and the wreckage in this house. Your mother's minimization is wrong and unsafe. Your sibling's refusal is a healthy signal. Your next chapter isn't about punishing anyone. It's about not being unsafe anymore. Distance, documentation, adults, routine. That's the plan. Keep your peace intact. The rest can wait. Now, the final story. A 13-year-old girl who used to sparkle walks in quieter. The earrings are gone. The makeup is gone. The wig is gone. What's left is a kid working up the courage to like what she sees in the mirror, and a house that suddenly has opinions. Two things can be true. Natural hair is beautiful, and choice is beautiful. Center the choice. You're 37, white, and you know you're out of your depth on black hair. Your son is 14. His girlfriend, let's call her Nina, is 13. Normally, she's sunshine with sneakers. Lately, she's dimmed. You clock the vibe shift long before you connect it to hair. Carpool day. Your son's upstairs grabbing something. Nina's downstairs shrinking into herself like the party is a pop quiz she didn't study for. You ask what's wrong. She says she doesn't feel pretty. You ask why. She says she's still getting used to wearing her natural hair. Then the puzzle piece that matters. My boyfriend thinks I look cooler this way. You remember being 13, bending yourself into shapes for boys who were still learning deodorant. So you try to help. You tell her she can wear a wig even if your son doesn't want her to. You mean autonomy. You say permission. Those aren't the same. Days later, the volcano erupts. Your son is on fire. He calls you a Karen. He says you're a white woman and shouldn't tell a black girl how to present herself. You're shocked. He's never come at you like this. You ask yourself the classic internet question, are you the bad guy? Let's slow this down and keep it clean. First layer, safety and respect. Nina is 13. She needs adults who center her feelings, not their preferences. If her hair choice today feels unfamiliar, she gets to try it, switch it up, and try again. She gets to be a kid, experimenting without pressure from a boyfriend or a well-meaning carpool mom. Advice without listening is just noise in polite clothing. Second layer. Black hair is not just hair. It's culture, history, and daily logistics. Wigs, weaves, braids, twist-outs, wash day. There's a whole vocabulary built around creativity and dignity. Natural hair has been policed, mocked, and discriminated against so much that just wear a wig can accidentally land like, cover it up to be pretty. You weren't saying that, but impact beats intent. Third layer. Your actual message wasn't wrong. Girls do not owe boys an aesthetic. You can wear what makes you feel pretty is solid. The tripwire was the phrasing, the context, and who said it. In a cross-cultural moment, you have to lead with listening and agency, not with a solution that sounds like permission from an adult who isn't her parent, and definitely not from someone outside her culture. Your son's reaction? 2 tracks. 1. He's right to say you shouldn't prescribe a black girl's look. 2. The way he said it, name-calling, heat, was disrespect dressed up as allyship. You don't get to throw Karen at your mom and call it justice. That's just a teenager using a big word like a slingshot. Protecting Mina doesn't require attacking mom. We can hold 2 boundaries. So what's the ad-safe, grown-up way to repair this? Start with Mina. Keep it short, gentle, and centered on her agency. I'm sorry I gave advice without asking more questions first. Your hair is your choice. Natural, wig, braids, anything you like. If you ever want me to listen, I'm here. If not, that's okay too. No lectures. No hair history TED Talk. She doesn't need a cultural lesson from you. She needs the lane cleared so she can hear herself. Next, talk to your son privately. Separate the message from the method. You're right that I shouldn't tell Nina how to wear her hair. I was trying to support her choice, and I missed the cultural piece. You were wrong to call me a name and yell. If you're going to stand up for a girlfriend, do it with respect. Also, don't police her look, period. If she says she's uncomfortable, you support her. You don't vote on her hair. That last part matters. He was enjoying the power of saying what looks cooler. He needs to understand that's a control move, even if he meant it as a compliment. Compliments with strings are just quiet rules. No one gets a say over someone else's hair. Not bae, not mom, not TikTok. Now, about the phrase, you can wear a wig even if my son doesn't want you to. Swap it out going forward. The cleaner line that keeps culture in mind and centers her is, you get to wear your hair the way you feel most yourself. Natural, wig, braids, no permission needed from anyone. Notice the difference? It removes your son as a gatekeeper. It removes you as a gatekeeper. It puts Nina back in the driver's seat. You can also build your own awareness off stage. Read up from Black voices on natural hair, school policies, workplace bias, Crown Act conversations. Quiet homework, no performative speeches. The goal isn't to become a spokesperson. It's to avoid stepping on toes you can't feel yet. And hey, give yourself a little grace. You didn't shame Nina's hair. You didn't tell her to hide it. You tried to protect her autonomy. You just spoke too soon, too specifically, in a room where history lives in the details. So, verdict time. Are you the a-hole? No, not in the internet villain sense. Your intent was to free a kid from boyfriend pressure. That's good intent, but you wandered into cultural territory with a specific cosmetic suggestion that can carry a heavy past. That was a misstep. Small, fixable, worth an apology. Is your son the a-hole? He's 14, with a big feeling and a tiny filter. He was right about centering Nina's choice and wrong about disrespecting you. He owes you an apology for the name-calling and a shift in how he talks about his girlfriend's look. If he wants to be protective, he can start by not voting on her hair. Is Nina wrong for anything? Number. She's 13, experimenting with identity and trying to feel pretty in a world that throws mixed messages at Black girls about what pretty even is. Your job is to keep the air clear so she can hear herself. Practical lines for next time. Calm, short, TTS friendly. To be clear, your hair, your choice. If you want ideas, I'll listen first. Compliments are great. Control is not. Let's make sure we're supporting, not deciding. Bottom line, autonomy over aesthetics. That's the rule. How would you handle it? Share your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for being here and for keeping it kind. I'm Tisha. This was Reddit Stories with Tisha. If you'd like more, consider liking and subscribing. See you in the next one.